What on earth were Casio thinking? I'm not seeing those scratches. I reckon it has fully polished it away. Today, I'm giving my 1 week review of the Casio AE-1500 after wearing it for 7 days straight. And at the end of the video, you get to decide on a very special new Watch of the Week episode, so stick around. Here's what I liked about this beefy Casio after wearing it for 1 week straight. First up, it just has to be this super clear and legible display. I mean, holy crap, is this easy to read the time. I mean, just look at how quickly I can tell the time at a glance. Ready? 440, 440, 440. In fact, these digits are so large that I can even tell the time from the other side of the watch. Ready? 441. Check it out. That's how big these digits are. And speaking of these large digits, we can bring up the LCD test menu by holding down these 3 buttons like so, and really get a clear idea of all of the digits going on this display. Next up, I really love that this watch has the most comprehensive alarm system I have seen of any Casio watch. And if I scroll through these 5 alarms, you'll see what makes them so comprehensive. The first alarm was set to go off on every day of April, which it did no problem. I also tested only going off on a particular day of each month, which also seemed to work. You can also make it go off every day, as you'd expect, by leaving this field blank. And finally, I set it to go off on a particular date only, and all of these alarms went off flawlessly and were extremely helpful. Next up, I really love some of the more subtle design elements of this watch. I really quite fancy this lovely silver ring which borders the display here, and I also quite like these little red accents for the arrow and on the left on the text here. Now these are different on the different colorways, which I've shown you in the previous video, but overall I find this to be an extremely handsome and rugged looking watch. I also like that you've got a couple of ways of getting back to the home time without having to look. You've got the usual, where the sound is a little bit different, but let's say you're in another mode, you've also got the option of holding down the mode and it'll take you back to the home time. Now, a few of you guys also reached out to let me know that there's an auto repeat on this timer, and I was delighted to hear this because it's something I love to use while cooking. If you head into the adjustment menu and press the light button once, you'll see that the little auto repeat text has now been enabled. Now you might have noticed that when this timer is active, there's actually a cool little animation taking place at the right side of the screen, and it would appear that 1 block lights up for every second that ticks by. And that brings me to my next point. And that is in the stopwatch. Now, if you remember in the unboxing video here, I actually got a little bit confused when I was trying to do stop the clock, which is where I try and stop this on exactly 10 seconds, as is tradition. Well, check this out. I've actually found that there's another cool animation which goes by much quicker, and I reckon I might actually be able to use this to my advantage and land it on exactly 10 seconds. Here we go. Oh, look at that. 10 seconds and 10 milliseconds. Come on, guys. That is much closer and definitely deserves your like. Now, before we get into the things that I didn't like about this watch, I'd like to point out that overall, I believe the AE-1500 is a very solid watch that I would actually recommend. If you're someone who appreciates large digits and legibility, or someone who might make use of the extremely comprehensive alarm system, this is a great option to add to your collection. If you'd like to get your hands on the large and in charge AE-1500, I'll be leaving the best price link that I could find for you in the description below. Now, here's what I did not like about the AE-1500. First of all, AE-1500, you can't scroll backwards. I can only scroll one way, and it is extremely annoying that I can't use this button to scroll the other way. Now, if you were an F91W, I'd give you the benefit of the doubt, because you've only got 1, 2, 3 buttons. But you've got 4, and there's no excuse. So guys, just to make it real for you, okay, I'm someone who frequently adjusts these timers, okay? Now, look, maybe I'm spoiled, but I honestly found it so cumbersome not being able to scroll the other way that it was actually putting me off from setting these timers. Look at this. If I want to scroll all the way back, I've got to go do a whole lap, get back to 1 minute or 5 minutes, and look, I overshot it by a minute. Sorry, guess what? You've got to scroll all the way back again. So let me know your thoughts, guys, but you know, maybe it's just me. Next up, this thing is big to the point where it's actually quite hard to get a comfy fit on my 6.5-inch wrist. So I'll put it on at the following point here, and as you can see, it's just a little bit loose, and look at how it sits crooked there, okay? But yet, when I do it up by just one more buckle, it now honestly feels way too tight and that my wrist can't breathe. So, you know, there's no happy medium with my particular wrist size. Like, it's just overall real big and noticeable, and somehow it's actually more noticeable than my GTX 6900, which we reviewed here if you missed it. And this one is even bigger, but yet somehow a little bit comfier. And I suppose maybe it's because of the way they've raised the case back, but let me know your thoughts. Another thing I didn't like about this watch is that there's no backlight duration adjustment. Quite frankly, 1 second or whatever it's on for is stuff all and just doesn't quite cut it. I really prefer it when Casio enables the option to change it between 1.5 and 3 seconds. For this watch, I would have loved to have seen it on 3 seconds, though I understand it may have drained the battery life from the infamous 10 years. Additionally, the backlight doesn't have the greatest viewing angle sometimes. See how it kind of gets a bit fuzzy at angles like that? But overall, it does get the job done. Oh, and one of you guys let me know there's another setting that can't be disabled. It's this beeping noise. For me personally, I actually like the sound of pressing my buttons. But let me know in the comments, what do you prefer, sound on or off? Next up, if we go to adjust the countdown timer, you'll note that it is limited to 1 minute intervals, okay? You can't adjust seconds or anything lower than a minute, which is a little bit disappointing. Oh, and also, because of this, I didn't realize how confusing it was when I went to set up a timer. So check it out. I actually legitimately thought that those were the minutes and these were the seconds when I was setting up a 5-minute timer. What I thought was a 5-minute timer, which I actually set up like this. To give my dog Bubble a chance to do her business on the grass. I looked down at my watch a few minutes later. Oh my God, I've set a 5-hour timer. So a little bit confusing. Maybe that was just me. But look, there is a third layer for the milliseconds down there. So if I... Wait. Hours, minutes, seconds. So there's no milliseconds. And look, as soon as you start a 1-minute timer, that whole thing is blank with zeros, right? What? That doesn't make sense to me. And look at this, even in the stopwatch mode, what a poor use of the digits. The milliseconds are up top, but put the seconds here where it's nice and big. So here I am waiting. It's been almost 60 seconds before we're going to see any action on the main display. What on earth were Casio thinking? Now, going back to this watch's appearance, guess what my wife said when she saw me wearing this watch for the first time? It's a fake watch. It's made of paper. It's not real. I guess that's how big the digits are on the Casio AE-1500. I definitely recall myself bumping this into things over the 1 week that I was wearing it, and as a result, I wouldn't be surprised if there is some scratches on the screen. Now, if you'll remember in the unboxing video for this watch, I actually failed to install a screen protector on this watch 3 times in a row, which I very much regret. Thankfully, since then, I have acquired another 3-pack. But just before we get these screen protectors on, I've got another tool to debut. It is Polywatch, and this has been a long-time viewer suggestion and can be used to remove light scuffs from the face of your watch using a cotton ball. Bubble really wants this cotton ball. Bubble, I need that. Bubble suggests that you ram the like button, don't you? Hey, don't you eat that, Bubble. No. So it would be good to do that before we get the screen protectors on. Now, if we hold this up into the light, I should be able to show you that we did, in fact, where is it? There. See, just on the O of 603, See those scuffs there at the bottom? So we are going to try and take those out with this, and hopefully it can be restored. Now, according to the packaging of Polywatch, we apply Polywatch to the plastic watch crystal and polish the scratched areas for 2 to 3 minutes with pressure. So I'm going to go ahead and set a convenient 2-minute, let's make it 3-minute timer, and polish away. Well, that is time. I'm not seeing any scratches. Let's get that main big light onto it. Where was that? Oh, yeah, there's the big light. Guys, I'm not seeing those scratches. I reckon it has fully polished it away. I am really happy with that and really impressed with this Polywatch. In fact, I can already think of another few watches that I am going to be using this on. And guys, if you want to get your hands on Polywatch or any of the other tools or parts I have shown you today, I'll be leaving links for you in the description below. So let's get these screen protectors on. Check it out. These are actually quite different to the ones I ordered last time, and they look like they're going to be a little bit easier, hopefully. Oh no, look. Oh, I can already see little bits of cotton that have somehow bloody well gotten stuck. Nah. See how it's up a little bit too high at the top there? And also there's a big bubble. You can usually get rid of the bubbles, but yeah, I've come a little bit too high to the top. So that is fumble number 1. Actually, fumble number 4 if you include last time. Lucky we've still got 2 spares. I mean, like it went down fine, but just there's these little annoying bubbles. Go. And just like that, we are down to our last screen protector again. It's been fumbled 2 times. Now, guys, I just went and had a look at the listing on AliExpress where I got this from. Turns out I am not the only person who's been fumbling these. There's pictures on there of other people who have butchered their install as well, and that's because it didn't actually come with any clear instructions. We're going to give it one last shot, see how it goes, but I'm not convinced that it's going to go on smoothly. Oh, I think we've done it. Mother of God, that was not easy though, guys. That overall took me 6 attempts. So look, in all honesty, it might actually be worth paying a little bit more for the solid glass ones. I did find them, but I figured they were a bit too expensive. But given how much trouble this was to get one of these down, I honestly think it's worth the extra price. Alrighty, here we are, and it's time to reveal what's so special about this upcoming Watch of the Week episode. Well, you guys might remember our first ever time we borrowed a watch from a viewer to review, the GBX 100 that we loaned from Red Wyvern, and that one was here. If you missed it, it was a great episode. Well, guess what? It's time to borrow another watch for Watch of the Week. This time, G-Shock Macro has generously stepped up to the plate and has offered to loan me one of his awesome watches. Now, if you're into G-Shocks on Instagram, chances are you'll have already seen G-Shock Macro's amazing work. If not, I'm linking his Insta profile below. But either way, this man has given me the option between 2 of his awesome G-Shocks. Here's some pictures of the watches he's offering up for me to borrow. So this is the part where you come in. I'd love to know which of these 2 watches you want me to wear and review. On the left, we have the GAB-001, and on the right, we have the GST-B100. If you'd like to impact my decision, head over to the Goat Reviews YouTube profile and click on the Community tab to cast your vote. Just before you head off and vote, make sure that you're a subscriber with notifications on so that you don't miss the video when we receive the winner and unbox it for review. And while you're down there, let me know, what are your thoughts on the AE-1500? Is it too big, or does it look like a cool watch in your eyes? A massive thank you to our Goat Crew channel members for supporting the channel. You absolute legends. Here's a link if you'd like to join us. Here's some more great content for you to watch next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next review. Hey, Hey, that was my cotton. No, I need that for later in the video. Hey.